another edition of Lab Rats. My name is Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
He's on the camera today. We have a very special Lab Rats for you today. You've been saying to us, show us how you make Lab Rats. We really want to be video podcasters too.
Yes.
So the emails that we've been sending back are, first, you need a really nice disco shirt, like this, shiny. And you need a co-host who is somewhat stoic and annoyed most of the time by your blathering.
That's correct.
And need a bunch of equipment. So on today's episode, we're going to take you through how we do it, and then we're going to tell you how you don't have to spend all this stupid amount of money that we did to do it yourself. But first, and this is really important for podcasters, we're going to take a message from our sponsor, and we'll talk about that at the end too.
This is Biff and Boo. They are Andy's cats. This is Andy's pillow. It is freshly laundered. This is Camtasia Studio 4. It's the best screencasting software ever. Now answer our trivia question. What screencasting software does not smell like cat pee or hide when it's bad? I'll be back at the end of the show with the answer.
You also need some really annoying people in your studio as well, so you can make good video podcasts. No.
Very nice.
That's Mo, our associate producer. You don't need an associate producer to start. All you need, actually, is a bunch of equipment, right? I mean, we really started on a couch with a camera and some lights.
That's pretty much it.
Right. And we learned some really hard lessons along the way. But so let's start with, I suppose, video. It's a video podcast, so therefore, you have to talk about cameras first, do we? Is cameras the most important part of a video podcast, Sean?
Actually, you know what? There's two things that that you want to really pay attention to, and one is cameras, and the other one is audio.
Yeah, and I would argue that audio is actually more important.
Audio is probably more important. Now we've I did some work behind the scenes on a show called Torrent, which was on G4 Tech TV, where we looked at video podcasts from around the world, and there were a ton of podcasts out there that had kind of scratchy video, but they were tolerable. What really makes a podcast really difficult to deal with when it's a video podcast is really lousy audio.
Yeah.
So the temptation will be, when you get started, is to want to just point the camera at your target over here. So we're now doing the Maurice podcast, and what we have is, I'm going to kick this out of our mics for a second, and we're going to hear the mics that are coming off of this right here. So Maurice, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm just over here shooting the Lab Rats podcast on how to podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
So what you'll notice right here is that my audio level is way higher than his, first of all. Second of all, even when we're just taping ourselves, so if we brought this over here and just sort of, hey, you know, how you doing? We're doing Lab Rats right here, and you know, the angle right here, we'd want this further away, ideally. Yes. But you can hear on this, the audio is not super. The built-in camera audio has a couple of key faults right off the bat. Number one, the microphones aren't really all that high quality. And number two, because it's attached to this device, which has a mechanical tape going in there, most of the time when you're listening to something that's coming off this, you're hearing whirr in the background as the motor cranks away.
So you can get started. So let's back up a bit. You can get started with a camera with a built-in microphone. You can do that.
You can do it.
And we did that at the beginning, more or less, didn't we? The problem is your audio is going to sound crappy, and your video is going to be okay. It's not a bad place to start, especially if you're starting out.
Right.
We very quickly, one of the very first things we did on this show is we went straight to buying some independent wireless mic packs, and we actually struggled with sound for a while. Yeah, why don't you talk a bit about that?
For the first bit, we did wired mics, and we ran cables across the length of the studio. So right now, there's nothing down here. That's because we went wireless, but beforehand, this whole area right here, and you can see this in some of the photographs that we had from the early days, we had wires strung from this desk all the way over to the camera. Yeah. And one of the big problems when you have cable runs that long is that you get interference creeping into those wires from the electrical cables.
It's general RF and the...
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then what you hear instead of the whir of the motors is bzzz.
Yeah, that was a real problem.
And so
to the point where we actually shot some episodes and the audio was so bad we had to abandon them. You know.
So the one thing that I would probably suggest is if you're planning to do this on a regular basis, go wireless. If you go with a wireless microphone, then you'll definitely have no buzzing because it's straight from this pack. So let's get a shot of your wireless mic pack. Okay, so there we go. There's the wireless mic pack.
Right.
So that's attached to the lav that's right on his chest right here. And that transmits wirelessly all the way over to these transmitter, or the receiver kits over on this side. And thank you very much, Mo. All right, so
He's the Vanna White of podcasting.
We both have those on to get our audio back to the cameras. So if you're going to do this on a regular basis, the first thing you want to look for in the camera is one that will actually accept microphone input, because not all of the cheap ones do.
We ran into that problem, actually, didn't we? We went shopping for cameras, and we discovered that a lot of them don't have line in.
Right, so there's a lot of them that just basically have the ones that are built in, or you can buy an attachment that doesn't necessarily have microphone input in the form that you want to get it out from your microphones.
Right. Now you pipe me in on the left channel and you on the right, is that right? Or something along those lines?
Yeah, we have a hard left and hard right on this, and then we mix them together in the end so that they're more or less closer to center. So we're still a little bit separated left and right based on where we are.
So you can actually reduce the volume on me.
Right, when you're going off on one of your tangents about some crap or other, or when you've just eaten a chicken sandwich and you're going, I can actually pull your level down.
You can actually, so, you know, let's say it's a demonstration. So don't forget to buy my book. Right?
Yeah. Well, were you saying something?
See what happens? See, that's bad. You know, actually leave all the audio in a single channel.
Yeah, so there'll actually be a bit of bleed. When I'm talking, you can hear it over here, and when he's talking, you can hear it over here. But you do have the ability now to sort of edit a little bit and pull out noise that's on his channel or my channel.
Right. So let's talk a bit about cameras, because I know that was a challenge for us too at the very begining. So what cameras do we use and why? And how we use, of course, lots of different cameras, don't we?
We've used a few different cameras since we started.
Right.
Now we have typically right now we've got only there goes Mo again.
Thank you.
Oh, there's another camera. All right, so we have, when we do this most of the time, we have a 3-camera shoot.
Right.
Now, you don't need a 3-camera shoot in order to do this properly. Now, we do a 3-camera shoot because we worked with television beforehand on Call for Help, and we understand how the 3 cameras work. So we've got the one that's got the 2 of us in it.
2 of us.
And then typically one over there that gets me and one over there that gets Andy. And we have a couple of other reaction shots and other cameras that capture other things. Like we've got one up there right now that captures our bumpers.
Right.
And that one isn't a super fantastic camera. It's just, it's an okay camera typically. Then the other ones that we have down here are higher quality. So we've got high definition capable cameras down here, but you don't need that. You don't need that to do it. We're actually pushing this out in standard definition or lower.
Now, way back in the day at episode 0 and episode 1, we started with, I think it was like a 3-chip camera from Sony, wasn't it? And what was the pricing on that, approximately?
Well, it depends on which model you go for. So you can get a very good 3-chip video camera for about $800 these days.
Right.
The one that we had was, I think, a little bit more expensive at the time.
Right. And what is 3-chip?
3-chip means that it has 3 sensors on it. Now, this one right here is single-chip camera. And that's one sensor in here that gets all of the information, red, green, and blue. With a 3-chip camera, you have one chip dedicated to capturing red, one chip dedicated to capturing green, and one chip dedicated to capturing blue. And what that does
RGB.
is RGB. And that gives you a cleaner picture, it gives you a crisper picture, and all the colors are better on that. So now,
Like my red shirt.
like your red shirt,
My
and all of the
disco shirt.
little details in it. Now, you don't need to start with anything that high. You can make do with a really basic kind of camera if you want to. Now,
I mean, you could go and borrow your dad's camera, your dad's DVD, you know, that burns directly to DVD and that sort of thing. You could start with anything you've got.
you can do anything you've got.
Yeah, exactly. Ultimately, I mean, as you get, you know, if you decide this is something you want to do, and over time you get a little bit of money together and that sort of thing, then you can buy a better quality camera. We actually did that about halfway through our, our first year. We decided to go out and buy some high definition cameras, which would shoot either 4x3, which is that square, the square idea, or widescreen, which is the
16:9.
16:9. That was a choice that we made. And I think what do we spend on our cameras? Something in the region of $3,000 or $4,000 each, something like that.
The ones that we've got, that one up there right now, that's one of our new cameras. Now we usually have a cheaper camera. Yeah, the same one as this one right here. These are about $3,000 Canadian, maybe about $2,500 US. shoots in 16:9, shoots high definition, HDV capable, not full on 1080p. Now we just shoot in standard resolution when we're shooting with this because when we're trying to push HD out to the web, it's too much effort to edit, first of all, and it's too much effort to push out. It takes up too much bandwidth.
Big files, right?
Big files.
So you guys would be downloading a high definition version. You'd be downloading 300 or 400 megabytes.
Right. So I mean, this
per
right
episode
here,
as opposed to 80 or 100.
Right. And high definition is worth remembering is about 5 times the information as standard definition.
Right.
So you don't need high definition. We have it because we could potentially use this for television or for special things or whatever. And that was a choice we made. But typically, you could do it with standard definition 4:3 if you really, really want to do it.
Okay, good. So, start with the basic camera, try to separate your audio. What's next? I think one of the things we ran into was lighting.
Lighting is a huge one as well. So I was going to give us another light. So the one thing you don't really think about with video production is lights, because when you're walking around day to day, everything seems normal, right? You're walking outside, your eyes adjust, you come inside, your eyes adjust, and so you're seeing in a dimly lit environment where there's just regular room lighting, it looks fine to you.
Yes.
The camera doesn't think so. So you end up when you're in a low lit room, you end up with something a little bit more like this, a little bit more washed out, maybe a little bit more yellow. So we've turned the lights back on. It just basically balances things out. We have a number of lights around here, and I'll shoot here. So we've got one over here to get Andy all lit up. We've got a central one over here.
I'm lit up naturally, baby.
Yeah. And that one gets both of us. And then we've got another one over here, right beside our man Gary here, that captures me. And it basically fills us in from all the sides, lights us up. We've also, right now, we've got a couple up here that sort of fill us in a little bit more. You don't typically need those. You can make do with 3 lights or even one really good light. So we've got umbrellas on here to diffuse the light a little bit. Behind there's one big bulb, and the umbrellas in front of them. Actually, if you could turn that one off for a second, though. So we've got an umbrella there, and then around the back, we've got one bulb in behind there. And the umbrella just basically serves to diffuse it and makes it so that it spreads out all across the room.
Right.
So that when
it's not concentrated.
It's not concentrated. So if you have a really harsh spotlight without that kind of diffusion, it basically hits you right here.
Right, you get a square, big white spot on your nose, but everything else is,
Right. So we've sort of spread it out a little bit. You can make do with one box with, or one light with the soft box is what they call it.
Yeah.
And that will diffuse it around the room a little bit.
That would cost somewhere in the region of what?
The lights aren't really all that expensive. It's a little bit expensive if you haven't done this before, maybe $100 to $200 for the light.
Yeah.
The umbrellas cost $20 to $50 depending on the size.
Right.
So you can actually light a studio like this for maybe $1,000 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And you'll get some pretty good even light all across there. So you want tungsten lights as opposed to incandescent. And that's one of the things that we want to say. You can use a light bulb that you get from a lamp, but that's incandescent. It has a different color temperature than the ones that you
if you go back
want
to
have.
episode 0, episode 1, probably even the first few, we were using these lights. These are the lights we bought. We bought it from a local hardware store.
I think these ones are halogen, I believe. So
the halogen lights, 500. I think 500 watts. This is 500 watts, and that's 250 each.
Yeah.
Out of the shot. When do you shoot that, Shauna? Close up.
I'll shoot that one over here.
Yeah.
So we just got these shop lights from Canadian Tire, and if you can see in the earlier ones, we looked pretty yellowish. Compared to what we look now. You want a light that shifts more towards the blue or towards the white.
Right.
So good lighting can really help your production look a whole lot better.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then, beyond, there's always, tripods and that sort of thing. I think about $50 or $100 each, aren't they? Something like that. You can buy some crappy ones for even less than that. One of the things I will mention about our lighting setup is we happen to know a fabulous photographer, a guy called Gio Purtis from MediaWorks.ca. And he said, hey guys, I've got this kit, and you can borrow it as long as you need it until you replace all the material. So it was very kind of him to provide us with that, a lot of this lighting. But really, so if you know a pro photographer or a pro-am photographer or whatever, and you can kind of go into their basement and pick and choose, that's a good thing. But as Sean said, for $1,000 you can get lighting and it'll look great. Or you can do what Amber did at the very beginning, and on CommandN, she shot outside.
Shoot everything outdoors. That's the best lighting source that you can get is the sun.
That's absolutely right.
But don't combine the two.
Well, Mo's saying don't combine the two, and why would he say that?
I have no clue.
The lighting outdoor light, and these bulbs are different sort of color spectrum.
Yeah.
So you get blue or yellow, and it'll get mixed up, and you really don't want to do that.
Okay, so if you've actually been by a video shoot or a movie shoot or stuff, they will have lights outside as well, but those are specially dedicated to that, so you don't want to do that.
Daylight, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So that's kind of the basic setup. You know, you recorded mini DV tapes, and at the end of the production, you should have a 10 or 15 or 20-minute show, whatever the length is. I'll tell you a secret about us, is what we do is you may see some edits in this show, but we shoot from beginning to end. So it's one take. So we start off the top, and we break for commercial, obviously, twice during the show. But it's a one long continuous take. We do that for a couple of reasons. One, it's very efficient, right? There's no stopping and starting and thinking about the shots and that sort of thing. It's just a continuous thing, so it's very quick to produce. On top of it, you get a seamless performance. So Sean and I kind of get into a groove, right? We start chitting and chatting and all the rest of it. And you get a sort of a sense that we have a continuous energy through the entire show.
Which we do, because we don't stop.
We don't stop.
The big problem is if we are like, okay, cut. That was terrible, Andy. That what you were just talking about right there?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so let's just stop.
Let's stop and do that again. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so.
Now what are we going to do?
Yeah, where were we?
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
Okay, are we in the same position as we were?
I don't know if we are. All right.
All right, let's go again.
All right.
Okay.
So what's most important is that, you do a continuous shot, from beginning to end.
My energy is completely
His energy is different,
now.
he's in a different position, that sort of thing. So I don't know if that's absolutely obvious.
Yeah,
but
that's one of the things we learned from shooting on call for help, is just keep on going, do that. You can probably do a few edits after the fact, but if you keep trying to do everything perfectly, you'll never get anything done, and it could end up completely disjointed.
If you ever notice, I mispronounce words, I stumble, I do all kinds of things, and we both make mistakes. You know what? It's part of what makes this show real, and people really like that. They like it has a live feel to it, a real feel to it.
Cats jump on board.
Yeah, well, that's part of the reason. Yeah, what we're saying, the cats jump up. They're not around today, but that's how the cats got in the show.
You'd never do this if you were doing a real show, as you wouldn't walk out of the shot like this and grab a cat.
Whoa, careful.
Hey!
There we go. Oh, sorry, Biffer. Oops, I shut off this. Oh, I see I pushed it off. Oops, sorry. Oh, sorry, buddy.
Here, it's okay. It's nice and bright under the lights here, too.
I broke the camera. As you can tell, he does all the technical stuff.
Yes.
But anyway, that's, so the whole live feel is really important. You can, mess around and have some fun.
My camera,
I know, I turned it off.
You turned it off.
There we go. So the live feel is really important. People tend to like it. You guys always tell us that, we like the show because of the feel and because we're pretty much continuous. And the other thing is we like it too, because there's a step-by-step process that that we get to present in, and we give you sort of this story from end to end. Planning an episode, really important. Sean and I talk about it ahead of time. One of us leads a topic, and then we go from there and we kind of ad-lib inside of that. The other things that's important is try to be animated. Try to add a little bit of personality to your presentation. If you stand here and go, "Hi, I'm Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And today on the show, we're going to show you how to work out a wireless network.
This is Biff.
This is Biff. Okay, let me show you. So you want to, we want to be a bit animated. You want to pick up the energy a bit and make some jokes, be relaxed.
But don't be fake.
But don't be fake. No, that's right.
What was it they said? Be yourself, only bigger.
Bigger, exactly. And one of the things I picked up along the way is if you film two people having a conversation and they're not performing for the camera, what tends to happen is it looks like they're really sad people on camera. Hi, how are you, Sean?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, me too. Did you go to the book and pick up that new copy of Absolute Beginner's Guide to Security, Spam, Spyware, and Viruses?
No, I hate that book.
Right. So two people having a conversation looks depressed. So unfortunately, what you have to do, or fortunately, is you have to pick up the energy a bit. Now, if you saw me in real life do this, you're like, Andy, while you're yelling and you're big, your energy's really big and that sort of thing, it's a little bit unnatural. Oh, good. We've got a telephone call. That must be our meal. Anyway, let's break for a commercial. And at the end, we'll talk a little bit about post-production. We're not going to go too much into it, but we'll tell you how we kind of wrap the show up and move forward from there. Here's our sponsor.
Earlier in the show, we asked you what screencasting software does not smell like cat pee or hide when it's bad. Is it A, Biff and Boo, B, Andy's Pillow, or C, Camtasia Studio 4? The answer is Camtasia Studio 4. Learn more at labrats.techsmith.com.
Now, of course, you're not going to make money immediately at your podcast. It took us, what, 6 months, 8 months, really, to find ourselves a sponsor. And we, you know, we met the folks at TechSmith and actually people at ViewSonic initially, and they put a commercial in. You can start by putting spaces in for commercials and making up fake commercials, but just to sort of break the show up into pieces. Ultimately, there is a business to be had here, and we make a little bit of money at the show. Now we have sponsors, and we keep it free for you guys. That's the other important thing.
Yes.
But before we finish up today, I want to talk a little bit about the post-production process. Once we finish here in the studio, Sean takes the tapes, and what happens to them?
Well, we have to capture them first of all. So that involves taking this camera, hooking it up to my computer, playing them back into the computer as basically a capturing process or ingesting.
Through a Firewire, right?
Through Firewire cable, typically. If you have a hard drive-based camera or a DVD-based camera, it'll be a slightly different process.
Yeah.
But then I pull it into an editing program and then cut things together. So we'll have the intro credits and music. We'll have that. We'll have the commercial breaks, and we'll have all of the other things. If we have multiple cameras, we'll switch back and forth between the cameras using the editing process. And,
And what product do you use to do that?
I use Final Cut Pro. We started out fairly basic with Final Cut Express, which does most of what you need to do. So you don't actually need... We've been showing off some relatively high-end stuff here, like this camera, Final Cut Pro. We've been talking about that, and these lighting kits right here. So you can actually make do with a lot less to begin with. So I wouldn't suggest by any means just diving in and spending all this money on doing this. Just find out whether or not you like this first. Play with the camera.
Play with the content.
Play with the content, because if you don't have the content, that's really important. Make sure you have something to say to the person on the other end of the camera. Otherwise, there's no point in doing this.
Yeah.
If you're just sort of wandering through this content and you don't really know what you want to say, then you end up with something that's just not really going to be worth watching at all.
Right.
I mean, some people may not think we're worth watching, but...
Well, 75,000 users, it can't be wrong.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is just have a focus, know what you're going to say going into it, and then just go for it. Perform for it.
Give some energy to the camera, don't be shy. This is a performance, and it's a delivery, and it's not just standing in front. In fact, if you're at school and you give speeches, imagine the way that your voice is relative compared to when you talk to your friends or something like that.
Now, I know I didn't give you a lot there about the editing process, but you know what? Let's take a look at that in an upcoming episode.
I think so. Yeah, editing, rendering, and that sort of thing. Because once you've had a finished product, you've got to push it out to a format that is usable on the web. We'll do that in the future for you guys. Well, that's it for today. I was actually pretty informative. I was jam-packed video podcasting 101. We hope you enjoyed that. We always like to hear from you, so send us an email at feedback@labrats.tv. And don't forget to visit our forums at sidewalker.com/forums, or you can get to it from labrats.t. Well, that's it for us. My name is Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And
we're going for lunch.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Are you ready? There we are.
Andy, wait. Why did we break?
Oh, I thought we were done.
No, we're not done. We got photos.
Oh, yeah, we got photos.
We got this big screen back here. All right.
Very effective use of the fade out and fade back in case you have to come back. Sean's a master of editing, as you can tell. All right, pictures.
Pictures. We have pictures.
A poodle.
This is TC the poodle. One of our viewers, Tim, his wife, has this poodle, TC.
Aw, isn't that cute?
That is very cute.
Very cool. TC for what?
Tim's Cocker Spaniel.
Good one there, Shani.
I don't know.
All right.
And this right here is Melissa from Bunbury, Western Australia.
Wow.
Yes.
Where's Bunbury, Steve?
Western Australia, over near Perth.
Near Perth.
All right.
Very nice.
And this is her bunny, Willow. Initially, I thought it was her bunny Bunbury, but I don't know. It was too close. But the bunny's name is Willow. This is Melissa.
Thank you, Melissa, for sending that in. That's great. We love seeing you guys and your pets, for sure. It's good to see we have some Western Australian viewers as well.
So now we're done.
Now we're done.
Okay.
All right.
Now
That's it.
Definitely
All right.
time for...
Don't forget, you need really great theme music to close the show and titles as well. So thanks for watching. Thanks for downloading this week. My name is Andy Walker.
I'm still Sean Carruthers.
We'll see you next
going
time.
back for lunch.
Again.
All right.
Bye.
Are you ready? Try this at home.
I'm making all of this up.
Television, repetition.
Just do a sound check, an audio check.
Check.
Check 1 2 1 2.
Check.
Hello and welcome to another edition of.
Oh, someone's fuzzy.
That's
You're
exciting.
fuzzy?
Yeah, Andy, that's you.
Are you fuzzy?
Hello, am I fuzzy?
That's good now.
Yeah, I just
Are you
I'll
fuzzy?
leave my.
Oh,
No, it's because when I move then. Okay, so I'll fix
Okay.
this then.
Yeah, we gotta be careful about these things, because when you do this, is it doing it? We're gonna have to replace the mic
Andy, I
again.
don't hear you.
Test 1 2 1 2. That's because you pushed the mute
No,
button.
no, it's not on.
Test 1 2.
I hear space noises.
Rebooting. Rebooting Windows. Test 1 2.
No, this is busted. Yes, please.
Back in.
Back in.
Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, fabricate.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name is Andy Walker, and today on the show, you are. Let's try it again.
Remember, this is not the Andy Walker
I
Show.
know, I have to remember that.
5, 4,